Famed, of course, for my unique red skin and unparalleled skills as a general of the House of War, I, the Red Prince, was raised within the vast palaces of the fabled Forbidden City. I was destined to become the next emperor. But my ambitions suffered a bit of a setback when I fell from grace for cavorting with demons. Now, I'm exiled and hunted by assassins. But I assure you, I remain undaunted and as determined as ever to claim my rightful throne.
I used to be a slave, kept under the thumb of the master, the bastard that made me hunt down my own kin. How did he do that, you ask? With the living scar you see on my cheek, this horror that takes no more than a song sung by Master Dearest to control my very thoughts. But now the tables have turned. I broke my shackles, and when I finally find him, I will make the Master sing a very different kind of song.
Once I was a crusader for the Divine Order. I pledged my life to Lucian the Divine. The war changed everything. He sent me to save the elves I grew up amongst. I arrived too late. Lucian ordered the use of death fog against the Black Ring, annihilating everyone I once knew in the process. Now I'm a mercenary killer, one of the infamous Lone Wolves. And my next target is none other than Lucian's own son.
Just thinking about someone I used to know. My cousin, the Queen, in fact. A tyrant. I tried to stop her, but things don't always go according to plan. She cast me out to a forgotten island, and made short work of my allies too. Lucky for me, I was able to commandeer a ship, and began a new life for myself, out on the high seas. Aye, but I hear that the Queen is at it again, and there's something darker behind her madcap schemes this time. If I don't stop her, I don't know who will.
All my life, I've been a performer, a musician, beloved and celebrated by all. But I have a secret. I'm also a playground for sprites and spirits and worse. The voice that rings inside me now is darker than any that came before. Almost caused a bunch of my fans to rip each other to pieces. But you can trust me. I've got this under control. Step 1. Find out who, or what, is trying to take control of my mind. Step 2. Make it sorry it ever tried.
Oh, don't stare. How would you look after eons in some ghastly crypt? Your people are rather prone to death. Mine are not. Yet when I emerged from my completely unjustified imprisonment, I found them gone. Our culture forgotten. Any trace of the world I knew all but obliterated. I must even hide my true face beneath an ever-shifting mask for fear you savages will attack me. That is how I wander this strange world, trying to uncover the truth about a history you primitive people never even knew existed.
Try again. Try again. Glory is mine.
Greet the Reaper for me.
I'm ready.
Prepare yourself.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now. No need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
So it wasn't a dream after all. Not a very chatty fellow, are you? Not a very chatty fellow, are you? Rubbish. This again. An animal's sty? Freight or food?
Did you expect a needle? Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin.
You there. Come here. Hey! Get me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in? Set me free, and I'll set you free. A fair trade, I should think. Your guess is as good as mine. Someone screamed loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of, just dragged me down here. A gentlewoman among jesters, you are. Give that lever a pull, and I guarantee we'll both get something out of the deal.
Before you can even touch the lever, you hear a sniff and snort behind you as the snoring Magister mumbles himself awake. One bloodshot eye opens, and then another.
Is my shift over? Are you here to relieve me? Wait, you're no Magister. You're a sorcerer. What are you doing here, filthy scrounger? Choose your words carefully. My fists ache to meet a new face. Clever story. I almost fell for it. Almost. I should have known there'd be trouble.
So much for a peaceful stroll.
Go on, pull the lever.
The prisoner's buoyant voice darkens as his eyes rest on yours.
Ah, freedom. Tastes better than wine. I'm nothing if not a man of my word. And I did give my word I'd set you free, lass. Say your prayers while you've breath to speak them. The halls await.
He have to gain by killing me? I need to keep my guard up.
Empty.
Not the most elegant solution, was it? And I'm back where I started. Nowhere to go but up.
Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already here? Everything's spick and span. Nothing left to do, really.
Empty.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural. Why, you're looking a bit more chipper. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself. There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. I'll need to write to headquarters right away. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Why? Because we're at sea, of course, and have been for several days.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good girl, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those Source spells of yours? See what happens.
currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
My, look at the concentration on your face. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cast Source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
She frowns and peers at you closely, resting the back of one hand on your forehead and taking your pulse with the other.
Delusions such as these are rare, but not unheard of. I recommend a cup of mulled wine and another night's sleep. Just take it easy. Is he? Oh well. Some problems simply sort themselves, don't they? You've been collared, and you've been told why. There really is no need for you to linger.
Good gods! There's been a murder here.
A young magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass. Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. It's a small ship. His name was Finn. Oddball. Looked to me like he saw something he wished he hadn't before he came here. We'll find out who did it, one way or another.
The pale young woman doesn't acknowledge you. She nods to the right without moving her gaze from the ground.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this.
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Finn was killed by Source. If a Magister could do that, there wouldn't be a Magister. It looks more like a passenger managed to slip their collar. And the rest, well, you see the evidence in front of you. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Not in here, it isn't. You let me know if you hear anything. Whoever did this is dangerous. So, anything interesting for me? I'll take that as a no. So, anything interesting for me? Right, tick-tock.
Just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up.
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen. Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part
An
where
elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like. Rolling dice. Deciding fates.
She eyes you quite seriously.
Not the future, no. But I can read the past in flesh. One of the perks of being an elf, you see. I'm quite good at it, too.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us.
I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers. As everyone lay sleeping, you lay awake thinking of someone back home. A very special someone. You were reminiscing about the things you used to do together. Of course it is. The truth's right there, skin deep. But don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
The woman keeps rolling her dice. She pays you no further notice. The woman keeps rolling her dice.
Oh, there you are, wife. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not at all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this loser woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly, deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? Like yourself, maybe. I don't mind the kiddies, usually. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it. You take care, though. Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief. Take it easy, Chief. You don't want to get noticed for the wrong reason.
Do you know Losa? She's a really good singer. I'm better, though. Listen. La 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 la.
Please, Losa.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
Wow! You look cool. I like your hair. I like your eyes. I like your colour. I have one too.
I ain't saying nothing.
You're a human, like me. That means we're friends already. My mum told me not to make friends with lizards and elves and dwarves and stuff. But I think they're okay.
Sing us a song. I know you can.
That's enough now. Take it easy, Chief.
That way. Been missed. Your kind always hung closest to our divine.
Name? The Divine Order wants to know. Well, you aren't here on my list. Scram, eh? We're trying to catch a killer here.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
Like I said, you aren't on the list.
Carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Please, please, please.
Be good, you scallywags.
How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out and takes your hand, turning it this way and that, examining it from every angle. Finally, he pinches your skin, gently tugging at it.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
What purpose did that serve? Was that a greeting? Was it... Oh dear. I seem to have crossed some cultural taboo. How... difficult. You have my apologies, human. Perhaps I should demand the same from those red-cloaked humans. They laid their hands on me more than once. I do not believe I've been drawn anywhere. It is a quaint little read, but it has its faults. It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No. I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book or respond to your questions.
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough.
You mind? I'm really rather busy. How dare
Here's the register, ma'am. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far?
Nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner.
He tugs the collar of his uniform and chuckles.
I'm sorry you're upset, ma'am, but we all wear what we wear for a reason. If you head on in now, Williams will get you sorted fast.
Don't you get saucy when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce?
Sing us a song. I know you can.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
The woman keeps rolling her...
I'm busy watching for clues, Sorcerer. Go take your sub-story somewhere else. What? Didn't make it clear the first time. Scram.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us will get our own.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this trampy fan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword, and now he's Johnny Big Pants.
I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
No.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty.
The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
I've never dined on anything less than a dozen.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
There has been a murder.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough.
That has the Magisters more concerned than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me?
The joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the ringmaster himself. Easy now. I might think the same, but Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You! What's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
I'll find out. I always do. Now away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall. Ifan raises his eyebrows, but shakes his head at your attempts to communicate, glancing sideways at the angry face of Magister Victor.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, Ghetto. You hear that?
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given.
The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
Don't you get saucy with me.
And?
You clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
The fellow cocks his ear, listening.
That isn't anger, it's...
He cocks his ear to the other side, then smiles.
Anticipation. She senses something. I'd hold on to my breeches if I were you, mate. That's all you hear, though. Listen close. There now, just like that.
Squeak!
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There, you heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, Ghetto. Good news. It's the wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Pardon my beard. That means if we've been traveling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy.
Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Captain, actually. And that figure tells me we're getting close to the Joy. Close to what lies beyond it, too.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank ye kindly, Ghetto.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all I was given. Unacceptable.
He continues stroking his beard, a beatific smile on his lips, and doesn't acknowledge you anymore.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty.
If you'll be pardoning me, I'll be much obliged.
Don't you
You're one of them. A divine order loyal. They killed a sorcerer, you know. They'll hide the evidence well enough, but make no mistake. It was one of them. I know it. I didn't do nothing, okay? It was one of them. One of your people. Human.
Your kind always hung closest to our divine.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
My, we are fierce, aren't we? Not to worry. I'll soon remedy that. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook? Oh, goodness, no. And don't even mention the demon's testes that are turnips. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
Mad? Insufferable, surely.
Oh, but to feel the caress of satin on my scarlet skin once more. A most satisfactory answer indeed. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after. The very basics, then. I suppose that's a start. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you can tailor and groom, but you have the taste buds of a dung beetle. Still, beggars can't be choosers. So without further ado, I offer you my sincerest congratulations. As of now, you are my slave.
Mad? Insufferable, surely.
My slave, of course. Oh, but I see. Yes, I suppose it must take some time for the full extent of this honor to sink in. Anyway, you may leave me for a moment. We'll go over your duties once we reach Fort Joy. Now, shoo! When I want you to attend me, I'll whistle. Until then, go stand in a discreet corner somewhere, will you?
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too.
It was one of them. I know it.
Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignity. Who we are, what we've done, they mean less than nothing as long as these collars choke us.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad?
The hatch is blocked. I'll need to find another way. The hatch is blocked. I'll need to find another way.
Ask what you must. I've nothing to hide.
Seems to me you should be a little more afraid. There's a killer about, after all.
Trained on her, and if she tries to
seem
run,
on edge,
shoot
officer.
to kill.
What on earth? You seem on edge, officer.
Murder
on
myth.
earth is
But standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened?
What happened? Must have been the turnips. Water? Wine, for goodness sake! Oh!
The lizard's eyes close as he slips into unconsciousness. The dwarf lies in a heap on the floor, his great beard twisted and tangled around him. He is stock still. You can't see if he's living or dead. The dwarf lies in a heap on the floor, his great beard twisted and tangled around him. Ifan lies motionless, curled on the ground like an animal. Under his shaggy hair, you can see green eyes fluttering as if in a nightmare. A low whine escapes his lips. His eyes flicker open, but he doesn't register your presence at all.
Lucien. Lucien.
Ifan cries out, then his eyes fall closed again. No matter how much you shake him now, he cannot be roused.
No, not the final dark. Not yet.
Her hand lies limp in yours. She's too weak to stand.
The dice roll darkly. They're rolling for me.
The young woman lies in a heap on the floor. She's breathing normally, but her eyes are wide open, like those of a corpse. Dark, greyish-black clouds swirl through them. She doesn't stir. The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound. The Magister lies on the...
Hatch is blocked. I'll need to find another way. Damn! That doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards! Not long before this thing snaps into splinters. God damn it! Need to get off this wreck, and quick! Great gods! Something's pounding on the hull!
The marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is, a warning of death fog within. You press your palm against the door to open it. The wood feels neither cold nor warm, but simply grey. The color drains from your hand, and you are left numb. It doesn't budge. The moment you touch the door, through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No, no, no! What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist acid! No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
Yes, indeed. It's the look of someone that wants to read the bloody book he's holding. Now, if you're really quite finished, I believe you have lifeboats to flee to. Please, I was no more an elf than you are those rags you're wearing. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands.
The skeleton holds up his book in one quick, frustrated movement.
I am trying to discover if there is anyone worth saving. And I will be damned if I let the lives of some mayflies get in my way. Go on, go. Swim or drown or do whatever takes your fancy. I have a book to read. Please, my time is short. Although yours, I gather, is infinitely shorter.
The moment you touch the door, your belly go the door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Thank you! There's a ladder right over there. You can go straight down.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear?
The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound.
If you could walk, get yourself up the ladder. There's a... Wait! Void woken!
Beardless bugs won't sink a ship on my watch.
They who are about to triumph.
I thought Void Woken was supposed to be scary.
Let the games begin.
Prepare yourself!
I've faced worse.
Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the near...
said there were other people down there.
You see those tentacles, kid?
Thank you. There's a ladder right over there.
You're gonna be the death of us.
If you could walk, get yourself up the ladder. There's a... Wait! Void Woken!
Bugs would sink the ship on my watch.
They who are about to triumph.
I thought Void Woken was supposed to be scary.
Let the games begin.
I'll yield to none!
I've faced worse.
Away! The sea's hungry. We don't have much time.
We make it.
I hear something. It's Magister Siwan, the one who put on this damn collar. Sounds like she needs help.
She tries to speak, but can only gape as she clutches her neck, trying to stem the bleeding of a gushing wound. With jagged movements, she raises her clenched fist and holds out a length of cloth, soaked with some kind of strong-smelling tincture. Blood quickly soaks through the cloth. Magister Siwan's mouth opens and closes, her eyes wide in terror. Blood pours out from around the bandage. Magister Siwan reaches out to you, her hand flailing. It's working. The pressure is stemming the flow of blood. Siwan clutches your arm, her eyes locked with yours. Something within the ship snaps. The floorboards shudder. Siwan struggles to her feet, clinging to you tightly. The ship lets out a deep groan, then cracks.
Ripping the ship apart!
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity. High Judge Oriven.
Those Voidwoken made short bloody work of the ship. Am I the lone survivor? It seems someone, something, wanted me alive. The Order would get rid of any trace of the old Source King. It's broken. This statue must be 1,000 years old. Wonder how much longer it'll last.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Why? I guess. Well, the people who put me here are human, and the people who took my parents away are human too. Or do you mean because I'm a... Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong. Or crazy. Maybe you're right. At least they don't mind where anyone goes. They know we can't leave the island, but it's a lot nicer out here than outside. But you didn't die. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see. I guess I am, but it's just normal to be scared. Nowhere isn't scary. You can stay out here with me if you want. You don't seem that scary.
Voidwoken. Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn, they made it to shore. Thought these bloody collars were supposed to keep those things at bay. Drowned and eaten by a Voidwoken. I wonder in which order.
You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red color. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
And a dutiful servant you are too. The chances are I wouldn't have survived that shipwreck had you not returned to the aid of your master down that dreadful hole. You have my gratitude.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
My gratitude is worth a great deal if only you'd realize it. But of course you don't, so we'll leave it at that. As for the slave thing, let's forget about all that, shall we? One good turn deserves another. So you may as well have your freedom. Now then, if there's nothing further... I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought it quite self-evident I was gazing out over the waves.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me. What do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Touché.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities, and shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. Yes, but these weren't castles in the sky, were they? Quite obviously, I was musing over the very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? The very same. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer, the spouse of the sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. This and that? Tag along? Do you really mean to compare the fate of an empire to whatever foibles you seek to fix? On the other hand, I really could do with a dog's body. And you've already proven to be trustworthy enough. You came back for the others on that ship, after all. Fine, I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer, one of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company. You do tend to beat around the bush, don't you? Oh well, that wishy-washy answer will have to do then. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes without saying. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic, and yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Finesse is a condition one should assume in any situation, from dining to discourse to dueling. What situations do you have in mind? Wavering is a sign of weakness, so make your choice and stand by it. Very well. Onwards then to victory or death.
The Red Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy and contempt.
Now, as you're aware, you'll be traveling with a prince. Proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, My Lord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go. So, without further ado, let us be off.
The squirrel's nose twitches as you approach, but the creature turns...
Deplorable surrounding for an agreeable conversation, but go ahead. I intend to rule an empire one day, not a tiny outcropping in the sea, lording over gulls and guppy fish. To that end, I suggest we focus on the obvious. A farewell to Fort Joy and a hello to the mainland. Of course, I'd much appreciate it if we managed to find a dreamer first. As am I. A prince should die of old age or on the battlefield. Anything else could be construed as weakness of character. That said, I've the distinct feeling I wasn't meant to die today. For despite your heroics, I was still cast into the water. I sank. I drowned. But there was something in the water. A voice made of air that soothed my flooding lungs. There was sudden light, warmth, life. Truly, how intriguing. To hear a voice whilst drowning is a rather specific delusion to share, is it not? Still, I wonder if...
He hesitates.
Are you a religious person? A pity. Religious persons tend to be all too self-important in their supposed humility. As for myself, I perform the ancient rites of prayer and ceremony with a kind of languid indulgence. After all, when one is revered by many as a living god oneself, public deprecation would be needlessly self-important as well, wouldn't you say? There was a small incident which prompted my many rivals to move against me. Technically, they had the letter of the law on their side. Such a nuisance, the law. Quite necessary to keep the common in line, of course, but one such as myself it should exempt as a matter of course. Noticed that, did you? For future reference, if I don't answer a question, it's because I don't want to. I hardly know you as yet. Let's leave some mystery in the relationship, shall we? We can exchange criminal records later. There isn't much to say, but for the fact that I simply must. It's the portent of it all. I can feel it. The revelation will be world-changing. I just know it. How you lack in vision. By the time I'm done, I will have real castles in the sky. As certain as the sun, such is my conviction. I will be, then grow beyond being. Yes. Is it an audience you... I intend to rule an empire. To that end, I suggest... Of course, I'd much appreciate...
A black cat? Or some would see this as an omen.
The cat's eyes are clouded and grey, but it stares at you with acute intensity. Its eyes clear, and it shakes its head, confused. The cat's eyes are it appears confused. The cat's eyes are clouded and it appears confused.
Hey, lady. It's a lot nicer here than that stinking boat, huh? I'm sure glad you went back to save the others. Saw one of them wringing out their tunic at the shore a few hours ago. Say hi for me. Adults always want to talk. Can't I just play here with my shells a while? I never want to set foot on a stuffy old boat ever again.
I wonder where this leads.
As the alcove opens up, you see the same skeleton that you met on the boat before it sank. He's still not wearing his mask. He's leaning over a corpse, prodding and pulling at the skin of its face.
Bugger. How on earth am I supposed to... Oh. Perhaps...
Skeletal fingers reach down and grip the skin of the dead man's face, pulling sharply upwards. After a few more tugs at the man's cheeks, the skeleton relents, letting the head drop to the ground with a damp thud.
Damnation. That stuck fast. I wonder, does the beard act as some form of anchor? Ah! No! Stay back! Don't... Oh, it's you. I must admit I'm surprised. Perhaps you're more buoyant than I suspected. Oh, yes. An exceptionally common, but exceptionally valuable commodity. A face. A face that seems rather stubbornly attached to his skull. I would normally employ a tool to delicately but viciously rip the face from the body. I could then craft a mask to hide my bone. But as I lack such a tool...
The skeleton grabs the corpse by the cheeks and pulls hard, grunting in frustration as the body's skin holds firm.
Because my own was stolen from me. And the idea of being chased across Rivellon by every idiot with a torch does not appeal. Oh, get away! Monster! Hide the children! Oh. You are simple beasts. And you simply do not like my... Well, not my kind, but those that look like me. So, if I am to traverse this land, I will need a mask to disguise my features. Simply put, I am an Eternal, and you are not. You have my sympathies. Indeed, no one seems to have the good taste to be. My people are rather absent. At least from this realm. As for the others, well, there is an excavation site at the Black Pit's oil fields. Perhaps there I'll find my answers. Well, that is the curious thing. They are clearly absent from this world, and yet they are everywhere. Every one of your races resembles them in some manner, and the statues you have built to your gods look remarkably familiar. Perhaps my people have ascended to some new realm, or perhaps your gods are merely a folk memory. Regardless, they are not here. But I will find them. Wherever they are, I will find them. Well, that hardly seems relevant. But if you must know, I was inconvenienced for a time. Several centuries, in fact. Or perhaps millennia. One tends to lose track. I was sealed in a tomb for daring to be curious about the world. It seems our king did not agree that the universe should be explored to its full potential. Perhaps I should thank him. It seems I was spared whatever happened to the others. I wonder if flowers would be appropriate. A cult? Hardly. We were a race that existed before the idea of race was needed. We were all one. I could ask you to imagine an Eternal as a creature of incredible intelligence and skill, but I fear the limits of your imagination would not do us justice. We studied the mysteries of the universe. We created works of great art. We disappeared. But I will find them. Wherever they are, I will find them. We will have our world again. I suppose, circumstances being what they are, it could be advantageous. You seem more at ease in this world than I. A guide would certainly be useful. Excellent. While we are conversing, perhaps you notice that I am rather skilled in, well, all things. Of course, the arcane arts are my little speciality, but being a brilliant wizard does not mean I cannot handle blade or bow. So, which do you require for this enterprise of yours? I could do that with one hand behind my spine. Now, shall we get on? There is rather a lot to see. Splendid. Very well. Let's be off. Is it not enough that you travel with me? Must you speak too? Go on then, bark away. Let's see if we can find any method in it. Well, I thought a brief swim in the sea, lying in the sun for a while, and maybe read a nice book. Or perhaps, and this is just a thought, we could find my mask and escape this wretched island. Oh, I think of them as little as possible. As much, I imagine, as you think of gadflies that buzz about you. Not that there is anything wrong with you, of course, just that you're, well, not all that impressive. As impeccably mundane as I have come to expect from this world. Regardless, further study will be required. In fact...
The skeleton pulls a notebook from his robes and starts scribbling. After a moment, he pauses and looks back to you.
Sorry, do carry on. Just act as you do in your natural environment. Simply pretend I'm not here. Ah, this is perhaps the first intelligent question you have asked. After all, one should always try to learn from one's betters. My people are a race far beyond anything that exists in the world today. We seek to master the secrets of the universe. We craft wonders to last through the ages, long after your crude tools have rusted to nothing. There is a great variety among our people. Some are tall and lithe, others short and muscled. Some come in a variety of eye-catching colors. Others you can barely see at all. This is what makes you such an abomination, you see. You almost look exactly like every other human out there. just as every lizard looks like every other lizard. Walking through this world is as repulsively bland as staring at a wall for a century. After a while, the very sight of you disgusts me. No offense, of course. I do not know. There are rumors that some have been found at the Black Pits, an oil field on Reaper's Coast. I was trying to uncover the truth when I was waylaid by these magisters. But wherever the artifacts of my people are, I will find them. We have not simply vanished into thin air. No, I should not. Not yet. Not until I know what truly befell my people. And, after all, I am still here, despite the Voidwoken's best efforts. Ignorant! I dare say I have a better knowledge of this world than any creature living in it. Oh, I may be missing some social mores or be unaware of what king waged which war, but why nitpick? Your history is an interminably dull list of mortals that were born, achieved nothing of worth, and then died. Certainly one may have expanded his kingdom, or another invented some way of pickling fish, but what does it matter? Where will your kingdoms be in 100 years? In 1,000? They will all be dust, along with each and every one of your great heroes. Your people and nations come and go, mayflies screaming their importance at a universe that cannot listen. But the universe is always there. The laws that govern your states change over centuries, but the laws of the world... Even when my people walked this land, a dropped apple still fell to the ground. I have yet to see the mortal king that can decree all apples must fall up from their trees, or order fire to produce cold instead of heat. No, these laws stretch to infinity. Understanding them lets you understand the world. That is knowledge worth having. Everything else is arguing over who has built the prettiest sandcastle as the waves creep closer. The Mask of the Shapeshifter? In my time, it was nothing more than a novelty. A toy, really. I crafted one for my child once. She spent the day trying to convince me that she was her mother, even though the face I used looked nothing like her. Of course, now that toy could be the difference between life and... well, it makes a difference. With that mask, I can shapeshift and walk through this world looking like any other simple mortal. I could look like a lizard, a dwarf, a human, any creature whose face I can procure. It certainly makes traveling through towns easier. Oh, it's quite simple. One just acquires a face, a source orb, and combines the two to make a face mask. Combining several of these single face masks, along with a source orb, will produce a mask of the shapeshifter. Frankly, I'm amazed everyone isn't doing it. Fear? Please. Why would I fear these creatures? It's a practical choice, nothing more. Moving through this world is so much easier when you don't have to lecture some torch-wielding lunatics on the dangers of an open flame. Trust you bloody-minded beasts to turn a child's trinket into a wicked purpose. People like you are the reason it must be recovered. I am using the mask to keep myself safe from the violence of this world. Who knows what evil it could do in the hands of some mortal witch? Oh, of course there are. How many hundreds of thousands of you people have died over the years? Almost all of them seem to have been disposed of while still wearing perfectly serviceable faces. It's a terrific waste. Still, without the proper tool to remove the face from a corpse, I cannot take advantage of the many cadavers you're providing. So if you happen across anything that seems capable of ripping a face off a body, please do let me know.
You hear a small whimpering sound from behind a basket. You peer behind it and find a small human child holding her knees and trembling. The child quiets and seems comforted by your presence. She looks up at you with curious eyes. Her eyes lock with yours for a moment. She places her head on her knees and sits quietly. The child doesn't lift her head from her knees.
Go! Get out! You are not welcome here. Go, she-pig!
She eyes you suspiciously.
Please, please, just go. You hear me, human. Leave.
to these turtles? They're transforming. swallowed too much seawater by the looks of him.
Foolish to attempt an escape by sea in these waters.
Snarl of vines snakes upward from the corpse. After a moment, you realize the gruesome truth. They're not entangling the corpse, but bursting from it. The vines bear unmistakable signs of old elven magic, the likes of which science once used to make entire forests spring to life. The vines have split the corpse's chest with incredible force. Thin roots wriggle from limbs and nail beds, anchoring it to the ground. The vines encircle a rough depression, as if something held there was violently torn free. Before you even registered the cool flesh, the vines lash around your wrist and drag you close. They pulse, tightening mercilessly, and release you, withdrawing sluggishly, as if sated. For now.
Sir, we've got company.
Ah, planning an ambush with this scion, were you? Just another parasite, then. We'll get to you once the witch is dealt with.
I tell you, I am no witch. The spores do this. If I do not find the rest...
Store the elven hedge magic. Weren't much use when we flooded your forest with death fog, were it? Lucian said it was a necessary evil. Me? I was just sorry we didn't get the lot of you.
You. I try to give you a chance. More than your divine order give mine.
Oh, sir. Her armor!
The scion twitches in sudden rage, and her armor uncoils, as if made of living vines.
No more chances.
I've got a new stick for you to chew.
You're not trying to escape, are you?
Ah!